I find our society's avoidance quite confusing, to be honest. Everyone just pretends no one else exists around them. Eye contact is dead. People literally ignore one another in social environments. When I go to the gym, I see this all the time. People just being like, headset on, pretend no one else is here, focus on basically nothing in between sets because everyone just looks like an NPC anyway. But they're just avoidant because avoidance is the norm of our society. Walking down the street on a lonely street is just the same. People pretend you don't exist. You walk past one another. When you get close to one another, they just turn their heads in the opposite way, or look down, or look in their phones or something. No one makes eye contact anymore. And I don't pretend to have people that are social all the time. That's impossible, right? Like, of course, even me, even you, everyone will have days when you're walking down the street and you're really thinking about something. You're just in your head, you're processing stuff. Maybe you are debating something important, or in the gym, maybe you're having a brilliant workout and you're just in the zone, you don't really need to talk to anyone else. But what I want to point out is rather that people are kind of brain dead, kind of AFK. And I think that's the reason they ignore everyone. They are just conforming to the norm, which is avoidance, and their brain is blank. I don't really think their brain is computing important stuff. And I find that concerning. For me personally, as I said, I kind of feel the need to be able to label people as friend or foe, that primal need. And just pretending everyone, like no one exists around me and conforming to the norm, that's not really something I want to obey. But at the same time, as I said, I don't really want to go ahead and talk to people all the time either, because I have my stuff to do. I will have workouts where I really don't want to talk to anyone because I'm just in the flow. But then I will have workouts where I will want to talk to people because it's not such a fantastic workout where I'm solely focused on the gym. It's very hard to go ahead and disobey the norm and engage in conversations with people that just seem like they don't want to talk to anyone. You can still do this. I did do this in the past. I still do it from time to time, but it's not necessarily something very pleasant because you're just able to read the vibe of the room, right? This is just some sort of social intuition. And when the vibe of the room or of the social environment you are in is just very individualistic, very avoidant, very like just pretending there's no one there, just me, I'm in my invisible box of my private comfort zone and I don't want to talk to anyone else. Like it's pretty hard to have a good time with people. Now, talk like being more social and an ideal that I think would be nice is to at least make some eye contact. At least look people in the eye, kinda, for a few seconds. Maybe smile to some people. Maybe say something that goes through your head if you really feel like it. And ideally, they should do the same. But as I said, they don't. A few years ago, when I was doing my cold approaching, yeah, and trying to make progress on me socially, getting out of that shyness, I would try to cold approach people on the street, in the gym, in all sorts of environments, and I saw quite a lot of them that their entire vibe, their entire energy just screamed, "Leave me alone, I don't want to talk." They even seemed like kind of offensed of me taking initiative and engaging in a conversation. And I was not rude, definitely. I was just trying to talk to them like two normal human beings. But they were just so repelling. I don't know, maybe this is just a Romania thing. I've heard I've heard foreigners say that Romanians might be, are sometimes quite cold and distant and individualistic. Maybe in other countries it's different. For example, I remember when I went to Germany, walking down a lonelier street, there were a lot of elderly people going past me and they were smiling, they were making eye contact, and I just thought that was fantastic, really. I really, really appreciated it. I thought that was the normal way of interacting with people. Because it's not natural for two individuals of the same species to go past one another in a less crowded area and to just ignore one another. If two cats go past one another, they will interact with one another, right? Every animal does that, but we as humans, we have the consciousness that tells us, no, 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 ignore it, ignore the other person because it's more safe, it's cooler. I don't think that's a natural way of doing it. But then again, if you are in a very crowded area, in a huge square or something like that, of course, you will not be able to interact and to acknowledge the presence of everyone because it's just too many people. What you want to do is go from point A to point B, and there is a huge sea of people around you. Obviously, you will not be able to take every single one of them into account, to make eye contact to every single one of them. That's normal. As I said, there are exceptions. But what I don't like is the fact that the norm is avoidance. The norm is ignoring people. Everyone just wants to be alone, to be left alone, to just interact with their phone, with literally, they touch glass. That's what they're doing. Touching glass all the time, looking into a small square. And they just don't want to interact anymore. People retreat from the social lives. Again, maybe this is also something that has to do with our younger generations, maybe people that are elderly, not in Romania definitely, but maybe in other countries, as Germany, for example. The people that are elderly, they are more well-mannered and a bit more social. And having that said, I don't make this video to give you any value, really. It's just, I'm telling you that this is kind of the thing I'm struggling with at the moment to understand, to find that sweet spot, that perfect balance between my urge to be a bit more social, not extremely social all the time, but just to be able to talk to people when I feel like talking to people. How do I blend that into people just being avoidant and cold and repelling all the time? Maybe if you have some interesting thought on the matter, then drop a comment because I'm really curious to hear about this. And also, I would be curious to hear about your experience in your country. Maybe it's just Romania, maybe other countries are really more open and more social. So help me with a comment, please.